the main card now, and we'll kick it off with the first of many main card fights. I mean, this is a big one. I can't see this card not moving around quite a bit. Like we have Kyle Dawkins and Roman Dolidze over there opening the prelims.
This is opening the main card, huh?
Yeah.
Currently? Wow.
Yeah, so Julian Marquez versus Gregory Rodrigues, which I have a feeling this one's going to end up getting bumped down to the prelims, swapped out for something else. But because that's where it is now, we're going to talk about it. So I like Julian Marquez here, actually, and all of his wins have come by way of finish. He's got really heavy hands. He's got really good combinations. His last 3 wins have actually come by way of submission. So he's turning into a really well-rounded fighter. He's definitely got a little bit more of a challenge this week with Gregory Rodrigues. But, he's fought and won against some solid, decent guys. And Rodrigues has as well, Jun Young Park, guys like that. But, the jiu-jitsu that Marquez has been using in his past couple of fights is one of the things that's really been standing out to me. It really shows his intelligence level, like when he was fighting Sam Alvey. And, say what you want about Sam Alvey, but that guy's a tough dude. And, Marquez just pounding down on his face, raining hammer fists on top. And, and this was after he backed Alvey up against the cage, just going body, head, heavy shots. And, he dropped him and realized that Alvey wasn't going to, basically give in to the hammer fist. He wasn't going to go to sleep. So, he choked him out. And, so I like the fight IQ that Marquez brings to the table. I like his ability to stand and bang. And then, when he sees the opportunity lately, he's really just been trying to go in there and wrap things up, on the ground. And he's got a pretty solid chin as well. I don't believe he's ever been put to sleep with anybody's hands. So at plus 165 in a fight that I really think is going to be a stand-up war, at least for the first 2 rounds. If it makes it that far, it's going to be a stand-up war for a good chunk of it, though. I like Marquez to get it done here. The biggest thing that he's got going against him is he's been on a layoff for over a year, but Rodrigues is coming back after 3 months in a scrap where he took a good chunk of damage and lost on the scorecards to Armen Petrosian. So I don't think it, is going to be that big of a deal that Marquez has been out for some time. And, I'm also a bit of a fan of Marquez. I believe it, he's got a podcast with Kendra Lust, so that's pretty cool. And he's the one that shouted out Miley Cyrus asking her for a date after he won too, right? So
that was epic.
Yeah, I love Julian Marquez. Really hope he gets
best moment of his career by far, for sure.
Oh yeah, that definitely put him on the radar for a lot of people. So Patrick, what do you think of that pick?
I like Julian Marquez, but I also like Gregory Rodrigues. I'm leaning the Rodrigues side for sure in this one. What are the odds? Do you know currently? Is it like minus 200 Rodrigues? Was it plus 165 or so for Marquez? Is that what we're seeing currently?
Yeah, correct.
You could have worse underdog picks, honestly. Marquez is a scrapper, and there's a lot of unknowns with him, right? He's had 4 UFC fights in about 4.5 years, so very inactive guy. He had that long layoff, like you mentioned. But he's beating guys now that are kind of fanned out. Maki Pitolo was that big win where he called out Miley Cyrus, I think. That was like a come-from-behind victory in round 3, where he had to choke him out. You mentioned the 100% finish rate as well. I mean, he also finished Sam Alvey, a guy who, he's got like one more fight in the UFC. He really shouldn't even be in there, though. He's lost 8 in a row or something phenomenal. So, both of his losses are by decision. If the fight gets drug out late, he's not always the best fight, So I like Rodrigues. Actually, even though he looks like a 50-year-old Brazilian Obama, he's actually only 30 years old. 6'3", 75-inch reach. So he's got the measurables on his side, the youth on his side, high-level Brazilian practitioner. And this is going to be a case with Rodrigues where he has the clear, easy path to victory. Is just getting the takedowns, and he's very good on top control. Big 185er, strong hips, really good balance. He'll let his opponents try to get back up only so he can grab their back, drag them back down. He can transition from mount to ground and pound, grab their back, get the choke. I really like Gregory Rodrigues, and he's a finisher too. 11 out of his 15 fights are by finish. But the issue here is, look, when they make this matchup between Julian Marquez, they're not saying we're going to make it between Julian Marquez and Rodrigues. This is a fair fight. We'll see who wins. He was supposed to fight Wellington Turman was Marquez. That's a far more even fight, right? They're trying, okay, one of you guys are both kind of like, first rounder bust guys. We'll see how it goes. Might be entertaining. Maybe Marquez will get the victory there. Wellington Turman pulls out 8 weeks ago, so it's not so short notice for Rodrigues. And now they're basically trying to build up Rodrigues here. I think they're going to give Rodrigues a spot to get back on the horse, he just lost a very controversial close split to Armen Petrosyan, and he's got a lot of potential in the future here. So I think they're really trying to set up Rodriguez to get a victory here, and I think with the takedown ability, he always gets either 2 or 3 in each of his fights. I think Marquez has been taken down like 14 times, never stuffed one. So I think this will be a clear Rodriguez path. But if this line keeps increasing, I wouldn't mind your pick on Marquez if the line gets out of control. Anything over like a plus 200 for Marquez, maybe it might be worth a stab inside the distance.
Yeah, I think, even at plus 165, still a good value dog. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, if I can stop playing musical chairs here with the boxes. Yeah, no, hey, listen, I like what you mentioned, a lot of the things, Patrick, and if you had picked me to go first, I would have said the same things. I'm not just piggybacking off of Patrick, but I went back that Armen Petrosyan fight. If you watch it, I mean, if you just clearly looked at the two fighters at the end of the fight, you would have assumed Gregory Rodrigues won that fight. Petrosyan was messed up, and then in a fight where ultimately or in a sport where ultimately damage matters, well, Petrosyan was wearing that damage more than RoboCop was. So, I mean, definitely controversial there. You look back at the wins that Julian Marquez has. Patrick said, a win over Sam Alvey at this point is basically not going to qualify you for anything. It's just going to disqualify you from being cut. At the end of the day, like if you lose to Sam Alvey, you should be cut. He's like not a championship gatekeeper. He is literally are you good enough to be here gatekeeper. I don't know.
He's been fighting for a long time, man. I mean, he's weathered. I love Sam Alvey. He's a great guy. We're always shitting on him as MMA, handicappers. We have to at some point, but he's been in there for a long time. He's actually from around this area. I saw his second professional fight ever, and I was in like 8th grade. It's been a long time. Yeah.
No disrespect, and it happens to everybody, right?
He does have one more fight in the UFC, right? Like he's got one more somehow, or is he?
I haven't heard that he's been cut, and I think
he's got one more fight to go. I don't know who the hell.
The reality of the situation.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, just the reality of the situation is that he's not of the caliber of the average UFC roster slot holder. So he's. I mean, and it's a testament to his career that he's able to fight out and fight to the end in the UFC. It's a testament to what he's done and the respect they have and the draw that he brings, right? It is prize fighting. But at the end of the day, when you're going talent for talent, he's not up there with the best of them anymore.
That's a dangerous fight for anybody fighting Sam Alvey because you just know if you get beat, like you're pretty much you ought to, like you said, you ought to be out of there too, Yeah,
you're gone.
Who would want that fight?
So yeah, I'm going with Gregory Rodrigues. He's a guy he stood and traded, and he's a high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu grappler in his own right. And I just think that he's going to be able to dictate where he wants the fight to be. And he's a guy who he's went out there and he's fought against strikers, just pure striking. And I don't think Julian Marquez's striking is really there. He can throw heavy shots for sure, but I mean, I think Gregory Rodrigues avoids those and is a little bit more slick with the boxing and the stand-up in general. So I'm going with Gregory Rodrigues. Oh my God, if I could get this burp out.
Ugh. Well, we needed to divert on a few picks. That's what makes the episode interesting. So
hey, it's a 14-fight card. You got to have some underdogs somewhere. Have at least a few of them.
Yeah. So next up, we've